The Winnipeg Jazz Orchestra is back this weekend, joined by vocalist and harmonica player Todd Martin to pay tribute to a Motown legend, the 25-time Grammy Award winner Stevie Wonder. Isn't she lovely? The music of Stevie Wonder, reimagined for big band, has 2 performances on Sunday. To tell us more about the show, I'm joined by Neil Watson and Todd Martin. Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to Classic 107.
Thank you, Simon.
Oh, it's a real pleasure to have you back, Neil. Welcome, Todd. Excited to have you here for the first time. I just have to begin by saying, Stevie Wonder, Neil, where do we begin? He's a legend.
Where do we begin? I mean, we have almost 6 decades worth of music to draw from. It doesn't get any better. If you're looking at doing a songbook style concert, Stevie Wonder's a natural fit for the Winnipeg Jazz Orchestra.
Well, yeah, I mean, you just mentioned it. Almost 6 decades. He was signed at 11 to Motown with Barry
Unbelievable.
Gordy.
He grew up in the recording studio. Yeah, literally grew up in the recording studio.
It's totally mind-blowing. He literally dropped the name Little as he progressed and aged. It's really incredible when you think about it. So looking at all of that music that he produced, he's just been pumping out the tunes for so long. How do you go about preparing a songbook concert?
My goodness. Well, let me tell you, first of all, we're going to need to do a Stevie Wonder Volume 2 concert somewhere down the road. It was very difficult to pick music that kind of spanned his career. I would call this, for anybody that's thinking of coming to the show, this is kind of like a greatest hits concert. There's a lot of music from that like super creative period in the 70s when Stevie was winning all the Grammy Awards for Album of the Year. Yeah. So a lot of stuff, that everybody will recognize.
Yeah. I mean, there is that really prolific kind of classic Stevie period. And I think there's that famous story about Paul Simon when he won in 75 and he's like, thank you for not releasing an album this year.
Absolutely. It's mind-boggling to think about the number of songs he wrote and the quality of the music. And every song is so different. Yeah. You can listen to a record and one song to the next, they're just completely different from each other and they're all fantastic.
Oh, they really are. So what challenges are presented when you take these songs of Stevie Wonder and you arrange them for big band?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is they were performed so perfectly by a legendary musician. It's tough, to interpret that, say something new and still stay true to, Stevie's original recording. So sometimes just adapting the music for trumpets and saxophones and trombones is enough and it works and it sounds really good. Other times you have to get creative. You have to think about maybe adding some new harmonies or saying something new with the song. And I think we've done a good job of that for this show.
Do you feel any sort of pressure with Stevie Wonder being the multi-instrumentalist and producer that he is?
I do, and in the past when I've just with playing jazz with a small group, when I've tried to cover Stevie Wonder songs, I always walk away going, it was okay, but it wasn't Stevie Wonder. So that's the big challenge was how do we stay true to that music, but still make it sound like us.
Yeah, I want to get Todd over here for a second. So Todd, you're joining the WJO for the show. Mm-hmm. When's the last time you performed with the WJO?
Last night at rehearsal.
Nice.
And it was great.
I was going to say, how was
it? It went
rehearsal?
really well. It was fun.
So, I mean, we're
looking forward to the weekend.
We're just chatting with Neil about taking these songs, arranging them for big band. Mm-hmm. As a harmonica player, as a vocalist,
yes.
What kind of pressure or excitement do you feel to perform music of Stevie Wonder?
Well, I wouldn't say that I feel pressure. I guess I'm more excited than anything because I love all of these songs and I love Stevie Wonder and his harmonica playing particularly. I was saying to Neil yesterday, I think he's got the most recognizable harmonica sound ever.
Yeah.
And I think most harmonica players would agree with that when you hear him playing, it's definitely Stevie Wonder. So when I do a lot of shows where I cover other artists and you always try to... There is I will copy some of the things that they do, but I can't do Stevie Wonder because I'm not him. Yeah. So I just try to do the best that I can. And, Ella Fitzgerald said she never heard a note that she didn't steal. So I take a lot of solace in that comment that if I'm doing the same thing Stevie did, then that's a good thing. So...
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, you're not unfamiliar with getting people up, like moving and grooving with your work with Dirty Catfish Brass Band and the like. Does that kind of like being part of a horn section and doing what you guys do already, is there like obviously there's a familiarity in that, but what do you enjoy so much about kind of going from the brass band to the full WJO like big band scene?
Well, I mean, there's more. It's a bigger band for sure, and it's all of the finest jazz players, jazz musicians in Winnipeg. So anytime somebody takes a solo or the different feels. Like just I was listening to some of the arrangements. There's a great arrangement of Superstition that's going to be happening, and just hearing their take on it is really exciting.
No, it's, last thing I want to ask you is, do you have a favorite Stevie Wonder song?
No, there's too many.
Yeah.
I would say probably the most of my favorite songs happen in songs in the Key of Life. And I actually got to hear Stevie do that in Minneapolis a few years ago. He did a tour, songs in the Key of Life tour.
Yeah. And
so I got to hear him perform that entire album live on stage with all of the parts. He had a string section, a horn section. Indy R.E. was his special guest that night. Yeah. Frederick Yanné, he had a special guest harmonica player there too as well. So I would say probably for me, and also, I was born in 75, so I have early childhood memories of those songs. Isn't She Lovely in particular, the harmonica sound on that. And for some reason, the baby crying in the album was always kind of creepy for me when I was a little kid.
Yeah. Neil, what about for you? Were there any songs that you needed to include in this concert?
Yes. I mean, I'm with Todd. 1973, 74, Songs in the Key of Life is one of my top 3 records of all time, regardless of genre. And the first song that popped into my head was doing Love's in Need of Love Today. First track on Songs in the Key of Life. I tell anybody that'll listen that you cannot feel sad when you listen to that song. And I had this idea of taking the melody and having Todd play it on harmonica right off the top. So it's instrumental, but with, sort of a nod to Stevie via the harmonica melody. So that's one of my favorite songs, probably just because it's the first song that pops on every time I put that record on. Yeah. But that's one of my faves for sure.
People are just going to have to go and see the show. Thank you so much for coming in this afternoon. It's
Thanks
been a pleasure to have you both here. Isn't She Lovely? The music of Stevie Wonder, reimagined for big band, featuring Todd Martin with the Winnipeg Jazz Orchestra, takes place on Sunday, February 10th. 2 performances taking place. The first, 2 p.m., is officially sold out. Congrats on that, guys.
Nice. Let's sell out the evening show, too.
Yeah, there you go. And so there you go. The evening show is at 7:30 p.m. Still a few seats available. So don't delay. Head to winnipegjazzorchestra.com.